When I found drugs and I used drugs, it kind of made me act in a way that I couldn't feel. It blocked out all that feelings of fear and anger, and it made me feel part of something. So I started using drugs at the age of 11. Beforehand, I was a very insecure, vulnerable, confused, angry individual who really struggled to express like emotions, connect with anything on an emotional level. It was all based through anger and fear. And then when I found drugs and I used drugs, it kind of made me act in a way that I couldn't feel. It blocked out all that feelings of fear and anger, and it made me feel part of something. Because as a teenager, you're so confused, and you'll do anything to fit in, whether it be buying the latest trainers or have the trendiest phone or the trendiest clothes. So when I picked up drugs, I felt straight away that I was part of something. Like an environment, and then kind of my whole attitude for the next 13 years was surrounded by drug use. The clothes, the music I listened to, the people that I interacted with, the attitudes and behaviours that I implemented into my life was all revolved around drug use. So, subconsciously, I think that I thought that was just cool. It was cool. I thought it was cool. I thought it was like, I wasn't very cool. I got bullied and I was unpopular, and I thought if I took drugs, it would like make me cool, and it destroyed my life. Yeah. And that was just the start. There was a whole progression for another 13 years. From like, started with cannabis and it ended up in heroin, And I'm not saying that's everybody's journey, but that was my journey. So I went into prison at 16. I turned 16 in July and I ended up in prison in November. And it was through like drug related crimes. And I kind of I went through a period of a decade where I would be in prison, I would get out, I would go into homeless accommodation, I would go back into prison. I would go into homeless accommodation, I'd go back into prison. I would get banned from homeless accommodation, so I would just like sofa surf or sleep rough. The drugs had that much of a control over me that I wasn't really making a choice, it was more survival. People have so many views on it. Like, I believe that addiction is a disease. I believe that you have people that can take drugs and they can put them down, and you have addicts. An addict is a person who can pick up drugs and it has a chemical reaction in their body. It makes their lives unmanageable. You're consumed by ways of getting, finding ways and means how to manipulate, how to steal, how to rob. It's traumatic, but it's not until you come out of it that you realise the power that drugs have in your life when you're addicted to them. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there that I believe that don't want to stop taking drugs, and there's a lot of people that want to stop taking drugs, but the fear of the unknown, the fear of living without anything, and how to adapt into society is so overwhelming that they'd rather stay in that state of drug addiction. My mum and dad tried really hard to I wouldn't say control, to try and help me. They had been through 15 years of addiction with my brother. And I think by that point they were really like damaged individuals in the sense like emotionally traumatic. Like, they had been through a lot of emotion, a lot of trauma, a lot of events. That they tried with me for a period of like 6 months, and then they signed me over to the care system, which I had a lot of resentment over, and I thought, why give up on me? But it was for my own safety. I was uncontrollable. My behaviours were so erratic. My parents were scared of me. They didn't know how to approach me. So I then got taken out of my family home and I got put 300 miles away in a residential unit for children who are have behaviour issues. And my drug use progressed there. Because I had all these abandonment issues and feelings of abandonment, feeling of let down, and So the only thing that would stop me feeling that is more drugs. I feel that there's a major gap in the release from people from the care system into society, into normality. At 16 years old, I was expected to leave an environment where I was cared for and go into an environment where I was not cared for, and I had to fend for myself. And was there help? There probably was help, but I was like, I'm 16 now, I'm an adult, I'll do what I want when I want. And it's breaking down that. I think that as a teenager, and I'm ranging to the 19, 16, 17, 18, 19s, you're emotionally unbalanced. You don't know what the hell's going on in your life. And unless you have good guidance and you're guided in the right direction, you don't know how to deal with that emotion. You don't know where to vent that. You don't know where to put your frustrations and your anger and your confusion. And not at any point in my life did I ever take into account that it was me that was causing everything in my life. Like everything that was going on in my life was caused by me and my behaviours. I would blame everybody else. I would blame the council for not giving me a house, or this person or that person. And I kind of had a moment in prison where I was just sitting there, and it was like nighttime and I was locked up, and I was just like, I think that I might be the problem. Like, I think that maybe I am the problem. And I decided there that I was going to try and change, but I was still on a methadone script. And I didn't really know what to do. So I got out of that prison sentence, and I continued to use drugs for about a week. And then I woke up, and I know that I woke up on the 21st of September. Like, I know the dates, and I was just like, I woke up in my flat, and I had, my flat was a mess. It was dirty. I had no carpets. I had no curtains. I had blood. It was like a squat. There was blood on the walls, and I had a mattress on the floor. And I woke up and I was withdrawn really, really badly. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I really don't want to live like this anymore. So I phoned my brother and I said to him, like, I need help. I want to be clean. And he took me to a fellowship and help, and that was kind of where my journey started. People are promoting themselves as being in recovery whilst they're still on drugs. They're still on cannabis, or they're still on prescription drugs. And I don't understand how, if you're in a state of trauma and addiction, how your life can get better and you can connect on an emotional level with another human being when you're still clouded by drugs and you haven't dealt with any of your past, any of your trauma from your addiction. And that's where the message is getting diluted because you're setting a bar for somebody else that's out there, and maybe their life is unmanageable and they can't cope, and they're trying to find a way out, and they're looking up to people that are maybe just a little bit more manageable than them, holding an appearance on the outside, but are still using drugs. And then you have another level of people that are going through their day abstinent and putting a 12-step program in their life to deal with the trauma and the past that they've went through, so they can come out a better person. Like, I went on a methadone script, and within 6 months I went from 30 milligrams of methadone to 110 milligrams because I said I was going in and I was struggling. And instead of trying to address the problem, they just medicate me more till I'm in a state where I can't move off my couch. I got refused funding for rehab because in Aberdeen they only funded people from Aberdeenshire, and there was no funding for people in Aberdeen. So I poured my methadone down the sink, and I went to my brother's house, and he I say lock, it sounds so dramatic. He has 3 kids and three kids and a partner who's in recovery as well, and they kind of just rallied around. My life kind of just started progressing from there. I went to I applied for college, and I'm now in college. So yeah, I got a job, and it was just like a process. I think I've got a lot of, I had 13 years of pure hell. And I thought to myself, right, everything I've ever tried to do in life I've failed at because I've given up. So if I'm gonna try and have this life of being clean and abstinent, I'm gonna kind of grab every every kind of thing that's offered to me. And if it doesn't work, then if I know that I've put all my effort into it and it doesn't work, then maybe I'm just destined to take drugs. But that's not the case, because it's like, it's worked pretty well so far.